Om. The Light of Truth, third part, chapter 2, Upbringing of the Children. Matriman Pitriman Acharyavan Purusho Ved. Shatapat Brahmana. Verily, that man alone can become a great scholar who has had the advantage of three good teachers, namely mother, father, and preceptor. Blessed is the family, most fortunate is the child whose parents are godly and learned. The mother's healthy influence on her children surpasses that of everyone else. No other person can equal a mother in her love for her children or in her anxiety for their welfare. This explains the use of the word matriman in the above quotation, meaning thereby he alone is said to have a mother whose mother is devout and learned. Blessed is the mother who never ceases to impart the right tone to the mind of her child for the time of conception till his education is complete. It behoves both parents before, during, and after conception to avoid the use of such foods and drinks as are intoxicating, decomposed, non-nutritious, and prejudicial to the growth of the intellect, and use those articles that are productive of mental tranquility, health, strength, intellect, energy, and good temper, qualities that go to make a man refined. Such foods are milk, butter, cereals, etc. Foods and drinks that help to make the reproductive element, both male and female, of the highest quality, free from all faults and imperfections. During conception, the mother ought to be very careful as to her diet and dress. Till the birth of the child, those articles only should be used as are productive of intellect, strength, beauty, health, energy, and mental tranquility, and such other good qualities. After the child is born and its cord had been cut and tied, it ought to be bathed with scented water and homa performed with scented clarified butter. The mother should also be well looked after in the matter of diet, etc., so that both mother and child may gradually gain in health and strength. After confinement, the mother and the child should be removed to another room where the air is pure and which is well furnished with scented and beautiful things. They should move about in a pure atmosphere. A mother should so instruct her children as to make them refined in character and manners, and they should never be allowed to misconduct themselves in any way. When the child begins to speak, his mother should see that he uses his tongue properly so as to pronounce letters distinctly in the right place and with the right amount of effort. She should try to cultivate a sweet, subdued, and pretty voice in her child. In her speech, letters, syllables, words, conjoined words, and stops should be distinctly discernible. When he or she begins to talk and understand a little, he or should be taught how to address his superiors and inferiors, father, mother, king, and a learned man, and how to conduct himself in their presence so that he may never be slight in company, but be always treated with respect. Parents should endeavor to inculcate in the minds of their children an intense desire for the love of knowledge, elevating company, and control of senses. Children should avoid useless playing, crying, laughing, and wrangling. They should not give way to excess of pleasures and sorrows, nor become completely engrossed in a thing. Jealously and malice they should not harbor. They should never handle or rub the reproductive organs, as it causes the loss of the reproductive element and consequently, besides soiling the hand, leads to impotence. The parents should try in every possible way to develop in their children such sterling qualities as truthfulness, heroism, patience, cheerfulness, etc. When children attain the age of 5 years, they should be taught the Sanskrit alphabet as well as that of foreign languages. Thereafter, the parents should make them understand and learn by rote such verses, poetical pieces, aphorisms, prose passages, etc., as are full of good precepts, inculcate truth and virtue, love of knowledge of God, and give advice as to the general behavior towards father, mother, sister, and other relatives, friends, teachers, and other learned men, guests, king, fellow subjects, and servants, so that they may not, as they grow up, be duped by any unprincipled person. They should also counsel them against all things that lead to superstition and are opposed to true religion and science, so that they may never give credence to such imaginary things as ghosts, bhoots, and spirits, that is, preta. Preta in Sanskrit really means a dead body, and bhuta means the past. People ignorant of the principles of medical and physical sciences look upon persons afflicted with the physical and mental diseases such as high fever and lunacy as possessed of devils, bhoot and pret. But instead of having such persons treated medically, dieted properly, otherwise cared for, they trust them to such rogues, scoundrels, cheats, idiots, profligates, and extremely low, selfish, despicable, and dirty charlatans as victimized them by their thickery, quackery, so called charms, and magic incantations. They waste their money and bring misery and suffering on their children by the increase of disease. Then those ignoramuses and their friends say, "Please, sirs, cure him though it may cost us our last penny." One on these rogues feel triumphant and say, "Well, bring us such and such material, our fee, offerings to the god, and presents to ward off the influence of unlucky stars." Then they sing, beat upon drums, play on castanets, kimbal, etc., in front of the man who is supposed to be possessed of a devil. By and by, one of those scoundrels begins to dance and skip about as if it in fit of madness and says, "I will even take his life." And the ignoramuses fall at the feet of that mean rascal, saying, "Oh, save him, sir, save him. You shall have anything you like." Upon this, the rogue says, "I am Hanuman. Bring me my offering, sweets, oil, a basket of loaves, and a red dress." Or, "I am God," or Bhairava. "Bring me 5 bottles of liquor, 20 fowls, 5 goats, sweets, and clothes. And when these dupes answer, you shall have, you shall have anything you like, the rogue begins to skip about and dance still more. But if a sensible man were to give them an offering of a good thrashing or shoe beating, kicking or smacking on the face instead, their Hanuman, God or Bhairava is at once propitiated propitiated, and they immediately take their heels, and all this quackery is simply meant for robbing the simpletons of their money. Similarly, when these ignorant people go to an astrologer and say, "Oh, sir, what is wrong with this person?" He replies, "The sun and other stars are maleficent to him. You fear to perform propitiatory ceremony or have magic formula chanted or prayers said or specific acts of charity done, he will recover. Otherwise, I should not be surprised even if he were to lose his life after a long period of suffering." Inquirer: "Well, Mr. Astrologer, you know the sun and other stars are but inanimate things like this earth of ours. They can do nothing but give light, heat, etc. Do you take them for conscious being possessed by human passions of pleasure and anger that when offended bring on pain and misery, and when propitiated bestow happiness on human things?" Astrologer: "Is it not through the influence of stars then that some people are rich and others poor? Some are rulers, whilst others are their subjects?" Inquirer: "No, it is all the result of their deeds, good or bad." Astrologer: "Is the science of stars untrue then?" Inquirer: "No, that part of it which comprises arithmetic, algebra, geometry, etc., and which goes by the name of astronomy is true. But the other part that treats of the influence of stars on human beings and their actions and goes by the name of astrology is false." Astrologer: "Is then the horoscope of no value?" Inquirer: "No, and it should be named not horoscope but death knell of happiness, because the birth of a child gladdens every heart in the family. But this happiness lasts only so long as the horoscope is not cast and the aspect of the planets is not read on the to the parents. Those children alone become well behaved, refined, and scholarly whose parents do not indulge them, but on the other hand, always reprimand them when necessary. Says Patanjali in his Mahabhashya, those parents and tutors who are not slow to reprimand their children and pupils when needed are as if giving them a drink of immortality. But those who indulge them are, in fact, giving them poison and are thus the cause of their ruin, because indulgence spoils children, whilst occasional reproof develops good qualities in them. Mahabhashya. Children should also feel pleased when reprimanded and feel uneasy when fondled. But parents and teachers should never reprimand them out of malice or spite. Outwardly, they should keep them in awe, whilst inwardly they should be tender hearted and kind to them. Likewise, they should advise them to abstain from stealing, sexual abuse, contracting habits of indolence, arrogance, drunkenness, untruthfulness, malevolence, wickedness, malice, jealousy, blind passion, and to cultivate good qualities such as truthfulness, virtue. Once a person has committed theft or sexual abuse or has spoken an untruth in your presence, you can never respect or trust him anymore. A broken pledge injures a man's character more than anything else. Therefore, once you make a promise, keep it. Deceitfulness, hypocrisy, and ingratitude are painful even to the soul that harbors them. How much more so then to others? It is hypocrisy to believe one thing and say another, and thus mislead people in order to gain selfish ends. Ingratitude is that condition of mind in which you do not feel thankful to one who has been good and kind to you. Parents who neglect the education of their child are his veritable enemies. In company, he is like a goose among swans. To give their children the highest education possible, to instruct them in the ways of truth, to make them refined in character and manners, in short, to devote all their resources, body and mind to accomplish the object is the paramount duty, the highest virtue, and the glory of parents. Continued.